It wasn't good.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's gonna be that bad. You're wonderful. Oh, well, what's the worst that happens? Yep.
I view it as communication. Which is I don't consider sexual.
Five 5:30, can we stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Okay, it's Tuesday evening, the 8th of October, 5:30 in the evening. We're at the municipal center. I have a roll call
Yes, Scott Markey,
here.
Susan Lester is here, Elizabeth Skinner is absent. Mary Lynn Hickey. Here. Rebecca McLeod. Here. Greg Sheen.
Here.
And David O'Connell.
Here.
Right, there you go.
Okay, can we have a review of our council meeting minutes from September 17th and our special meeting from September 27th? I'll take any additions or corrections and a common consent. Everybody okay?
Yes. And you're present.
All right, common consent? Okay. Before we get started, I want to make an announcement. Last month at the last meeting, we had a little bit of conduct unbecoming in here in council room. We had a lot of people in here. We, the council, respect everybody that comes to our meetings, and we expect the same back to us. No hitting anybody or, whatever. We're all humans. We're all adults here. Come on. But this is not going to be tolerated. I'm not going to tolerate a meeting where somebody or some people want to hijack the meeting and they want to kind of make themselves a little bit known. I won't tolerate it. If I deem it getting out of control, I will probably have my police officer ask you to remove from the meeting. We've got to keep some type of a conduct in this meeting, and everybody's should be on their best behavior when they're in a public meeting. Okay, so everybody understands. There are a lot of feelings going around, a lot of things going around. I understand there's two sides, but we got to respect everybody. Okay, we've got to respect everybody. We don't want this town getting like some of the towns in the United States where we can't get along with our neighbors. Okay.
I would like to add that this is a government meeting. It is not a place for rumor or innuendo or false accusations against people. So I don't really want to hear any of that.
And I may add also, when we allow the public to speak, the actual essence of the town council meeting is like a county commission meeting too. You're here to watch us conduct the business of the town, which we have a lot of all kinds of things going on. And if you sit through meetings, you'll see that. And so, it's not a hearing, it's not a New England town hall. So if that helps clarify too, we're here to do a lot of grunge work for you guys, really, so.
I'll add something too. I was on work travel for the last meeting, so I was not here and I could only hear. And I have to say, there was a point at the end of the meeting when one participant was accosted by another participant. And that was amplified in its disturbing nature when I couldn't even see it, but I could only hear it. And I just, for the record, would like it to be known that that individual was contacted about that behavior, and a statement of what we expect in terms of decorum at these meetings was stated very clearly and unequivocally, and with that, a statement that we would vigorously enforce what we expect at these meetings without exception. So I hope that that is a one-off and is not going to become a trend. Well, it won't, because we're making it clear, and I'm now looking into public policy statements around decorum at public meetings that will be posted on the door and available to anyone who may need clarification about what that really means for you, so that we literally are on the same page about how we collectively conduct ourselves in meetings.
Okay, I think we beat this one enough. I hope everybody understands. All right, we're gonna move on for persons before council. Vita, you have the floor. You're on here.
Thank you, Council. What I'm going to say is also going to be given to the editor, to the editor as a letter. First of all, I made a comment regarding the assistant principal that I should have not made. For that, I would like to apologize. I understand that it is hard to not take these events personally. That being said, everyone felt welcome in our community because we tried to coexist and not make waves.
Hold up, just take some minutes.
Thank you. Everyone felt welcome in our community because we tried to coexist and not make waves. We never cared that the LGBTQ community beliefs were different from ours until they didn't want to coexist and no longer wanted equal rights. They wanted preferential rights. They have disrespected us by flying their peace flags all over town. The LGBTQ community have disrespected our beliefs by writing things in their window, such as Mary should have had an abortion. And be proud, be brave, be queer, across from the park where our children play. These are not actions to unite our community. They are hateful, and we are offended. We should not have to explain to our children what that means. Children should be allowed to be children. Families bring their children to the run in the park as they have done for generations. Scott mentioned that a non-discrimination ordinance would help increase tourism. The question is, for who? Certainly not families. He also mentioned, among other things, a non-discrimination ordinance would benefit religion. I have a hard time believing it can benefit religion. Everyone is already protected under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, signed into law July 2nd, 1964, by Lyndon Baines Johnson. Again, it feels like they don't want to coexist like we have tried to do or have equal rights. They want preferential rights. If the LGBTQ community wants our respect, it would be helpful if they would tone things down a bit. For almost 4,400 years, the rainbow has been a symbol of God, that God gave Noah, that he would not flood the entire earth again. We have the United States of American flag, and we have the West Virginia flag. Those flags unite us, and we don't need a flag to divide us. But now, we want a non-discrimination ordinance with perceived discrimination included. We both know perceived and actual are two different things. They have crossed the line, and now we care. The LGBTQ community is entitled to believe and live the way they want. Just don't try to shove it down our throats. The reason you felt welcome was because we tried to coexist. It is time for the LGBTQ community to also try to coexist as we have tried to do. Our sexuality should be private, and our children are off limits. I hope this gives you a chance to understand how we feel, and that we all need to be considerate of each other's rights and be willing to coexist, whether it is the LGBTQ community, heterosexual community, the VDARE Corporation, BLM, or any other group, not just one special interest group. We can agree to coexist. That is why you felt welcome. This is the time to be united, not divisive, and we need to agree to coexist. After all, this is not a particular group's personal private playground. As President Ronald Reagan would have said, take down your flags and offensive comments. And remember, respect goes both ways.
All right. Okay, let's move on. Kate, you're on the agenda.
I'm the Reverend Kate Lehman. An ordinance that has been proposed to the council that would extend the protections of the federal government's Title VII Civil Rights Law to include businesses with fewer than 15 employees. As it stands, this law protects discrimination in employment based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Prohibition based on sex includes pregnancy, sexual orientation, and gender identity. So far, the most vocal responses from members of the community have been in reaction to sexual orientation and gender identity, and have been based on personal religious convictions. 3 areas of concern have been noted: the mandate of Scripture, fear of indoctrination of our children, fear of sexual exploitation, especially by school personnel. The school district is already covered under Title VII in that there are more than 15 employees. Further, it is outside of the jurisdiction of the town of Bath. My insight into these matters is based upon my education and training. I have a Master of Divinity degree from Andover Newton Theological School. My area of specialization in graduate school was the analytic study of ancient religious texts. Biblical criticism is based on the knowledge of the original culture, language, and the time when the text was written. Upon graduation, I was ordained by the Unitarian Universalist Association. As a parish minister, I was trained and certified as a sexuality educator. I am familiar with and embrace a scientific approach to sexual affection and expression. Only 4 passages in the Judeo-Christian Bible explicitly address same-sex behaviors, 2 in Leviticus and 2 in Romans. Critical study leads biblical scholars to state that at that time and in that place, and using the language of the times, these passages were a rejection of neighboring religions that included sexual acts by prostitutes in their worship. This was not the first time, nor will be the last, that religion is used to create us and them groups. To be certain, some religious organizations believe that the Bible is the inspired word of God, free from errors. The Bible is read and interpreted literally in all of its details. People with these beliefs come to different conclusions about these and other passages that refer to sexual behavior. Regardless of how members of the community or members of council personally understand the Bible as reference to sexual expression or affection, the decisions of a civic institution must be based solely on the laws of the nation and the state. Scientific evidence strongly suggests that sexual orientation is caused by a complex interplay of genetic, hormonal, and environmental factors before birth. Neither queer nor straight people decide whom they're going to be attracted to due to indoctrination of any kind. Exposure to trusted adults who are open and affirming may give a young person the courage to leave the closet, thus appearing that they've been indoctrinated. Exposure to trusted adults who are restrictive and condemning may force a young person to stay in the closet, thus appearing that their sexual affections and expressions are in line with what is expected of them, or worse yet, consider self-harm due to mistreatment and stigma. Regardless of members' personal convictions about the causes of sexual expression and affection, the decisions about the proposed ordinance on the part of a civic institution such as the council must be informed solely by the laws of the nation and the state. Research done in 2022 indicates that 1 in every 10 children will experience sexual abuse by the time they turn 18. There is no evidence to suggest that queer men are the primary perpetrators of such abuse. In a major study done with the Child Abuse Center, fewer than 1% of the abusers identified were in a gay relationship. It is a grievous mistake to confuse gay men with pedophiles. About 60% of the perpetrators of sexual abuse upon a child are a non-relative acquaintance, such as a friend of the family, babysitter, neighbor, or a member of the clergy where the family worships. Another 30% of child sexual abuse is committed by relatives of the child. Sexual abuse does take place in school. Although teacher on student abuse gets more widespread attention, in fact, student on student abuse is 7 times more prevalent than adult on child abuse. A civic institution such as the council must be informed solely by the laws of the nation and the state in deciding how best to protect the civil rights of all people. Unfounded and unjustified fears must not be given credence in the process of making those decisions. I firmly believe that there is room in the public square for discussions that include religious belief. But all voices must be heard and given equal attention. And people must speak up with respect when they feel that their point of view has not been respected or heard. To stay silent in the face of these offenses further divides residents into warring camps of us and them, where everyone is hurt and our community is weakened. I know I don't want that.
All right, thank you, Kate. All right, this is what we're going to do. I would ask the council if we could move that forward. Got another room full of people. We'll do what we did the last time. Everybody get 3 minutes to speak.
I'll make that motion that we amend the agenda to bring forward public.
Second.
Okay. We got a amendment to amend the agenda. We've got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. This is what's going to happen. 3 minutes. Do I have my timer?
You got it.
Thank you. 3 minutes. We'll start up here with Paul. If he has something to say. Hey, got to put you on the spot. So,
Thank you all here. I don't think I'll take 3 minutes. I wanted to thank the 2 speakers that spoke. Thank you for speaking to your fears and concerns, and thank you, Kate, for bringing everything you brought. A lot of information, a lot of it I didn't know, and I consider myself informed.
So I hope that was civil and discreet, even though I addressed other people. I agree with almost everything in the room. And recently I talked to somebody that this might be of value, so I'm just going to put it on the table. It'll come back. People can talk with me afterwards. I've invited people to town that do what's called deliberative town halls. This is probably really not something that belongs to the council. It's something that's going on in the community. So my offer, which I know I've put out before, is a place where people can hear each other, not a debate format, not a blame or try to figure out what's right or wrong format, because I think that does exactly what some people have said, it divides us further, but a place where you can hear the stories, personal, religious, whatever it is. I mean, how do we get along? The constant theme I hear in this town is that we want to coexist. I'm hearing it from both sides, and if that is a true statement, then the opportunity to listen to each other, I hope, would be well received. And I'll just be available afterwards to share that or share it with council, whoever wants to know.
Okay. All right, right.
Can we ask everyone to state their name for,
My name is Trey Johansson. As a woman, small business owner, queer person, and Jewish person, I am and a mother. I have chosen to make public my conviction that we do not live in a town where people who are like me are experiencing equal rights and respect for our equal rights. Time and again, I have experienced, and young people, particularly with whom I work and serve at the coffee house, experience fear that all of who they are is not welcome in spaces in this town, that people would rather them shut up, that they are bullied and intimidated. The need for a statement from the council may or may not happen. Safe spaces are needed. I pray for a day when pride flags are no longer needed, because it is ordinary that all people are treated equally, with equal respect, have equal opportunities, and are not discriminated against, don't experience bias or intimidation. I do pray with that.
All right. You want to speak?
I do.
Thank you.
Jennifer Williams. I appreciate some of the town council wanting to address the issues that had happened last time. Unfortunately, I don't feel that it was enough. But I also understand that one of the reasons that were used for not needing to look at an ordinance was because there was no police record of incidences, which is mostly because the people who would need to file them don't feel comfortable going to the police, because that is the perception that a lot of people get. So I will be pressing charges or making a complaint or whatever it is, and I will actively promote that anybody else who feels that they've been discriminated against or put in a position do the same. I should not come to a town council meeting talking about love and hope and all of the good things that I see in this town, to have somebody stand over me and scream at me and put their finger in my face. I don't deserve that. I don't know what his issue was. I have talked to people of his faith to ask them to pray for him, because I will not pray to his God. But I do hope that he gets some kind of help to figure out what's going on. But I should not be put in that place. Talking about going to the run, when I took my son the first summer we lived here to the run, he heard a child used the F word and the N word for the first time and sat on my floor and cried because he did not realize that children could be filled with hate. I've had to deal with that. And that's not fair to me, that's not fair to him, that's not fair to our community. So while I understand coexisting and being able to do these things in a peaceful way, being in a peaceful environment doesn't mean that the people that you don't like have to be silent and have to be hidden. They shouldn't have to hide. The statement that was said was written on a window, I do not agree with that. That's going too far. But having pride flags out, having the rainbow out, telling your children that you love them regardless of who they are is not a bad thing. It is not going to destroy the town. It's going to help the town. Your children are leaving as soon as they get old enough because they don't feel safe here. They don't feel comfortable here. They don't feel that this is a town that's going to benefit them and help them grow. If you think the town is dying, you reach out to your youth. You find out what they need, what they want, what will make them stay to build the community. When you have people like myself and my husband come in and open businesses and volunteer as much as we can, you promote those type of people, not people who are spewing hate, that have never been to a council meeting, that have never volunteered for anything, that aren't active in your community. Look at who's active. Those are the people that you need and that you want. And that's all I have to say at this time.
All right, to the young lady that's sitting down, do you have anything to say?
I have nothing prepared, no.
Okay, all right, and, all right, that was pretty good timing. Scott?
I'm Scott Gomez. Marilyn, thank you for your opening comments, and I agree with you. I mean, I can debate a lot of people, but I don't think physical fight is the way to go. Rita, I thank you for your apology, but it's a bit too late. You are a person that can purchase a bad name. You have spent this past month defaming and slapping her name.
All right, Scott, we're not, no,
Don't direct it to her.
I'm not,
We're-
it's hard.
yes, you're directing it to her.
Okay.
You're talking to the council.
Okay, well, a man was slandered and defamed for a month. He feels that wrath. A man who has multiple master's degrees, a man who has spent 25 years as a teacher, coaching, supporting, and mentoring children. A man who was named Teacher of the Year in Maryland. A man whose qualifications are more than anyone else in the school system, including the superintendent. We are lucky to have him. People do this all while professing to be a Christian, yet Exodus 20:16 says, the ninth commandment, you shall not bear false witness. Ephesians says, command you to put away any malice and malicious gossip. Matthew, tell you not to judge. Philippians says, tell you that you should live your lives and must think and act like Christ. All these people talking like this is not even close to being like my Jesus is. Words are hateful and mean, and they matter, and they stick. A apology 3-4 weeks later does not save it. I was bullied when I was in grade school and high school, and it still haunts me. And that was too many years ago. So apologies don't always work.
Scott.
Thank you.
All right. Do you have anything to say? Ma'am, do you have anything to say? Okay.
Aside from a thank you, David, for getting the ball rolling and finally getting the water.
I'm glad you gave me that feedback because I was going to ask you after the meeting. All right, thank you.
All right, next in line.
I just wanted to say that I've only been in this town 2 years living here, but I've been coming here since I was 16. I've seen so many changes in this town over these years. It is not welcoming right now. And oftentimes in the name of religion, there's so much hatred. To be told that it's okay if you fly an American flag or a West Virginia flag, but do not fly a rainbow flag. That isn't welcoming. That isn't caring. That you're telling us what we should be doing and should not be doing. Kindness, compassion, volunteerism, helping your neighbor, just getting together and having a good time without all of the judgment in the name of Jesus Christ. It's ridiculous in my view. There are so many loving, kind people here that are accepting and warm and non-judgmental. You have your life. If you want to go to church every Sunday or 5 days a week, fine. If you want to, not go to church at all, fine. But are you a kind human being? Do you accept other people for who they are, as long as they're not harming anyone? That's, in my view, the important thing.
Next. You got anything to say?
Are you pointing to me?
I'm pointing at you.
I didn't even think of saying anything.
All right.
How did I get that
I just
reputation?
like to give I'm giving everybody. I'm going through the line. All right. Over here.
Not today,
Okay.
not tonight.
Okay. The back pew. Anybody want to speak? Okay. Over here. Oh, Charlie. Okay. Sorry, Charlie.
Charlie Curia. After being hatefully slandered and libeled for the last 4 years, or 5 years, and being falsely accused of other things, this town's not going to come together until that kind of action stops. And this ordinance is only going to levy a weapon to these people to further destroy Berkeley Springs. And it's my opinion, as far as the pride flag goes, because I listen to customers come in, there's a lot of out-of-town customers who are offended. And to me, if you offend even one person, you can't put the sign on that all around, because you are purposely offending. That's my thoughts. I always philosophize neutrality. You treat everybody equally. You don't favor anybody, and you should be able to get along together if you do that. But you can't if you continually, slander and libel people.
Charlie and I own the Mountain Laurel, and I don't care if you want to fly the flag. That's your right. You can do it. But by the same means, if you don't want to fly the flag, you shouldn't have to, and you shouldn't be ridiculed because you don't. We were very, very publicly ridiculed and condemned on social media because we don't fly a flag. That's as wrong as condemning someone that does.
My name is Jeff Duvall. I'd like to address, sort of dovetail on Scott's statement and address some of the really hateful and, in my mind, ignorant statements that were directed towards a few of our educators. It's pretty well known that our high school and Morgan County Schools is a very underperforming school system. Our high school is consistently ranked in the bottom 10 of the entire state of West Virginia. West Virginia is ranked, depending on where you look, 47th, 48th, 49th, sometimes even 50th in the country in education. It's an injustice to our kids what we are doing in our school systems. And to attack educators who choose to come here and work for our kids. One in particular, as Scott mentioned, has 25 years of teaching experience. He coached at the college level, an NCAA women's basketball coach. And he has dedicated his life to educating kids and he is willing to come here. He could make a heck of a lot more money if he drove across the river and worked in Maryland, or if he drove south and worked in Virginia. But he chose to come here. And the two other teachers I don't know as well, the counselor that was slandered and the other teacher, they chose to work here. They are the future of our community. Our kids are the future of our community. And we are attacking the people, the only people that are willing to help them make that next step and grow and learn. And I just think it's shameful for a community with such a horrible school system and a horrible school reputation to attack those individuals that are willing to do the hard work and try to make improvements. I just think it's unfair. Go ahead.
Sorry, just in terms of flying the flag, we have an Airbnb in town and we fly that rainbow peace flag. And we literally just had a couple today who is gay come downstairs and talk to us and say that they came to Berkeley Springs because they saw that flag on our Airbnb posting, knew it was a safe space. And I forget where they're from, but they told their parents that they were taking this trip through West Virginia. And she said, her parents said, "Are you crazy?" Like, those stereotypes exist. And they decided to basically follow the rainbow around the state and feel like they could discover these new safe places. And that is not the first time we've heard it, because we have other properties and we fly the flag there. We have heard it over and over and over. So it does make a huge difference. And the other side, I mean, it's at the risk of having some people not agree with it, yes, but on the flip side, people are feeling persecuted, and this makes them feel safe.